Welcome, everybody. This is Coach D. Durrell Spears with Coach D. Durrell Spears TV channel. This is a dating channel for those that are looking to learn about dating, relationships, love, all of those good things, monogamy, consistent relationships, having situationships, and all things that are defined in this day and time. Today, we're going to talk about the lovely Miss Beth. She's going to talk about a wealth of experience that she has endured in dating. She's been married before. She's going to talk about a lot of things that she brings to the table and so forth. She's going to talk about where things stand now, her goals now, as far as what she's looking for, the attributes that she's looking for, and things of that sort. Before I get to that, guys, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who have subscribed, who shared my videos. Shout out to my girl, I am Vicky. She did a post. She brought a lot of traffic my way via YouTube and on Facebook. I appreciate the love. And everybody that supports I am Vicky that's here. Thank you for coming to the channel. I hope that you're enjoying. So at this point, I'm going to bring the lovely Miss Bethany up, and we're going to have a discussion.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. So I'm glad we were able to connect. I know that we talked and we kind of discussed a lot of different things of what we're going to discuss today. And so before we get started, I'd like you to kind of tell everybody about Beth.
About myself?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm currently almost 58 years old, or young, however you want to put it.
Okay.
I'm single. Not really dating anyone at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got grandchildren, and
okay.
I'm a bartender and just kind of hang out and enjoy life.
Okay, hanging out, enjoying life at this point. Now, this is a dating relationship type of channel. So I want to talk about your dating history. Everybody, we kind of talk about your dating history. So kind of talk to me about when you began to start dating seriously. What was the outcomes of that, and how just your history with dating? How did that go? Like as far as starting off,
well,
in your adulthood.
Over the last few years, dating has been definitely totally different. Back when I very first started dating, back in my late teens, early 20s, you didn't have all the social media, all the dating apps and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you met in normal settings, whether it be, friends having cookouts or whatever. And it was so much easier to date, and people weren't so superficial as they are now. It's dating's difficult now. Everyone is going to apps, and you can't really meet anyone, it seems like, out in public, because everyone's consumed with their telephone, and they're not focused and they're not paying attention.
Right. So let's kind of talk about, because you as we talked, you did mention as far as your relationship history. You had endured a relationship that resulted in marriage.
Right.
Okay, now
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've been married 3 times. Once was out of pure love, and he was 8 years younger than I am.
Pure love.
Pure love. That was pure love.
But pure lust. I'm just kidding with you. Huh? There's nothing wrong with having a balance between two.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, you've actually got to have that balance to make a relationship work.
Right.
As I figured out since I've gotten older.
Okay.
But I've learned. So after my third marriage, after I divorced my third husband, I took some time off from dating and did some soul searching.
Okay.
I tried to figure out why my relationships were failing, and because I knew it couldn't just be them. And that was true. It wasn't just them. I was doing a lot of things wrong. My self-esteem was horrible. I didn't think real highly of myself. Right. But I carry myself with a lot of confidence, which totally throws things off. And then once I was in the relationship, it didn't work because I didn't feel confident, and I didn't feel good enough.
It sounds like to me, the confidence that you were pursuing was to attract the men, but it wasn't necessarily foundational of who you were
It was
as the relationship went into
right.
motion.
It wasn't in a positive way.
Okay, understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So prior to you getting married the first time, how old were you in your first marriage?
I was almost 26 the first time I got married.
26. Now, between the time you were late teens to 26, what kind of relationships did you have, or were you just dating one guy for a long period of time?
Well, I dated two guys, two different guys, two separate relationships for quite a while. One of them was quite a bit older, and that's why I think that didn't work out. uh,
Okay.
yeah,
How much
uh,
older? We talking about like 20 years older or just
talking like
10?
12 years older. 12.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
I
you know
get it. Okay.
that's a really big age gap when you're 18. You
Yeah,
know,
that is. Yeah.
it truly is. It doesn't really sound like that big of an age, but it really is.
Yeah, when you
Uh,
first getting into the world, yeah.
right, and me being younger and him being older created a lot of jealousy on his side, and yeah, that was a very difficult relationship. It was very heartbreaking. Took me a long time to get over that, a really really long time, because
Any
I was
children?
no, we didn't have any children together, no.
Okay.
And no, but
And that was
we're actually still friends now.
good, good. And
Yeah,
you're pure love. That was pure love.
that was that was my first love. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Now, what happened after that that led to the second one? What there were more restrictions, there were more, let's say, things that were required in that one.
So my first marriage, because that was my first relationship, my real relationship.
Right,
My first marriage, I actually had been with the guy for 2 years. I swore I would never do this, get married because I was pregnant, but I got
right.
pregnant. And so we got married. He was 10 years older than I was.
Okay.
And we actually ended up having two children together, but he was boring. I was young and he was boring.
It
You
was
know,
boring. Now,
he
now,
wanted
now, now, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
no, he would get up and read the newspaper at 6, 7 a.m. Go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock at night. And he was a Nicky 9 to 5 kind of guy. I was a hairstylist and a bartender. And,
You want the
you know, I
party.
just
You
weren't,
want the party. Sounds like to me.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So we ended up divorcing. Um, I met 2 years later, I met my second husband, who I fell head over heels in love with, who is 8 years younger.
Okay.
And we we had a great relationship. Unfortunately, he was a bad boy, made a lot of bad
Mm,
choices that I didn't agree with. We were off and on, and for several years, and we had two beautiful children together.
okay.
And we are actually still semi friends. We talk. He's been remarried, but I didn't like his lifestyle and wasn't going to promote his lifestyle, and that's
Okay.
when
So he wasn't so boring, but he engaged in things you didn't like.
absolutely. I know he
Okay.
was.
Hey. So we got to find some balance here. We got to
We got to find
somebody
that.
that should
Yeah,
have a little edge there, that keeps you on your toes, things of that
absolutely.
sort. So,
Because it's all about the chase. To me,
okay,
and you should never quit chasing, even when you're in a relationship. It's all about the chase. It's all about the build up. That's
okay,
that's what I found. For me, it is.
okay,
Once once that chase ends, and you quit having the fun little chasing and flirty stuff, it it goes sour. It gets boring.
okay,
You know.
okay. Now, um, this was your second marriage. Now, did you have breaks in between the
Oh yeah.
marriages? Or
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
okay, you put an
Yeah.
emphasis to make sure we understood that. Like, okay, so you went from guys that were older to then a guy that was 8 years younger. So
Yeah.
what about the third marriage was what? Your
So we
age or older or
yes. No, we were actually so my third one, we were the same age. He
mm-hmm.
actually does a morning show for a big radio station. And
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, lots of fun. We our kids actually sabotaged our marriage.
Okay.
And I don't think that he had his wife before me had passed away from
Oh,
cancer. And I don't think that he had really taken the time to deal with that when we had met. She'd only been gone for a year.
oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and the crazy thing about that is she actually passed away on my birthday. And I think that that was kind of a party foul for us, you know. But I don't think he actually took the time to grieve. And I think that's what really was our issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was your issue.
Yeah. One of the main issue with us. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so that abruptly, how long did that last relationship last?
We were together 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that
No.
was a short. Now,
Yeah.
after that relationship, what did you think about marriage after that?
After that, I wanted no part of any relationship. I wanted to do my soul searching. So I took a 3 year hiatus and I traveled with my girlfriends, went on cruises, had a blast, and just did some self searching, some soul searching, and figured out where I was going wrong in these relationships and
Okay.
you know, why was I failing?
Mm-hmm. So what did you
And
discover? What did you discover in that soul
um,
search?
so I discovered that my self esteem, the way that I thought about myself and I see
Mm-hmm.
myself wasn't where it should be.
Okay.
Um, and I didn't really love myself the way that you have to wholeheartedly love yourself in order to
Okay.
love it. You have to. If you don't, it's just not gonna it's not gonna work. And I also learned that once I started getting too once I started really getting deep into a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
that I would sabotage the relationships because I didn't feel worthy. I
Being in the
or,
relationship.
or I was afraid. I was just really afraid to let
Mm-hmm.
go and to let someone truly love me.
Were you afraid of letting, like, say, being vulnerable and the risk of that?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We all have a story. Every last one of us has a story about our
Okay.
lives,
Yeah.
and
Everybody.
everybody, and the way that we deal with that. Um, everyone deals with it in a totally different way. And I think a lot of my things I had really shoved down in my soul and kind of put on the back burner. And so I was afraid to let go. I was afraid to be vulnerable and to let someone really, truly love me.
Right. 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 So
Hurt.
again, you've been through three marriages, relationships, took a break. Um, where are you currently right now as far as what you're looking for out of a guy? What type of relationship you want? Where does it stand now? I do understand the pitfalls of how dating has changed over time due to technology advances, and people are a bit more superficial. People are a bit more wanting to date indirectly as far as meeting and
Right.
things like that. You've seen a change in that over time. Talk to me right now about what's at this point. What does dating look like for you, and as far as what you're experiencing?
So I've actually been talking to someone whose daughter introduced us a couple of years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
But he lives in another state right now. So we've been video chatting and talking. We seem to have a lot of the same wants. I'm real- I'm probably one of the super chill women you'll ever meet. I
Right.
just I'm not real high maintenance. I'm very simple, and I like to hang out at home. I like to go out in the country and shoot guns and
Okay.
sit around fires and you know um and he's a lot like me. Whenever you get older, um your whole outlook seems to change. I want someone who wants to just hang out, someone who appreciates coming home to a nice cooked meal, who
The
wants to get
simple
dressed.
things.
Excuse me.
The simple things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm a southern girl. I was born very southern or raised very southern. um so we're quite doty southern
Okay.
women.
Okay.
And yeah, so and that's another thing I really have to watch with myself because I seem to want to nurture everyone. And even in a relationship, I'm that very nurturing person. I'm the one that wants to cook and clean, and I want to do it all.
Okay.
And that tends to scare men these days.
Mm.
It really,
You're
they're
thinking
not
you're trying to get in, trying to move too fast per se?
right. And that I'm trying to, woo them or win them over or whatever. Exactly. And it's like, no, that's just who I am.
Right,
You
right.
These are the things that I enjoy doing. And, I want to put a smile on your face by you eating what I just cooked for you.
Okay. Right.
It's, yeah, it's not that I'm trying to move in too fast or get you to marry me or whatever. Ideally, though, I would love to be married um, to the right person. But
Okay.
that person, they have to be pretty simple and and just enjoy life. Life is too
Right,
short
right.
to.
Right, right. Definitely, definitely. So you are talking to a guy that's, kind of a more indirect state thing. So what's been going on locally? Like like say, are you have any spots you like to hang out, go to, have fun? What are you meeting? Come on, let's kind of talk
Well,
about what it's really looking like in the nightlife you're in
as a
Dallas,
bartender,
and that's
as
one
a
of my favorite cities. Go ahead.
uh, the last thing I want to do when I'm not working is go to a bar
Okay.
as a bartender.
Hmm.
So it makes it hard to meet anyone. I meet lots of fools when I'm working, and when
I
I say
imagine.
fool, I mean fools.
I
You know,
imagine.
yeah. Uh, there's a reason why they're at the bar almost every day. Why
Hmm.
they're sitting on the same bar stool. You
Right.
know, and I've always made it a rule I don't date customers. So that just makes it a little bit tougher for me to meet people.
Okay.
Uh, and Prince Charming isn't going to come knocking on my door. You know,
Okay.
yeah. So I really don't get out a whole lot to go meet
Okay.
people. I really honestly don't. I don't think a bar is a good place to meet anyone.
Not in my opinion. I've actually talked about places that are good to meet people, depending on your interest and things of that sort. I also suggest that people also, if you find yourself dating or attracting the same type of guys, to get out of your comfort zone and go to places, excuse me, that
Right.
you've never been to before. I
Oh,
actually also encourage that. So, um, I would say per se, you want to go places that when you look at a bar. Come on, that's more of a stereotypical. We already know what to expect,
right.
but I do think that you want to go to places that have some level of class per se, or somewhere where people are doing fun things, that are doing productive things.
Right.
Just events, certain type of events, organizational type stuff, things
So
that are more community orientated, where you'll see an abundance of different type of people in one location. So
I mean, I work private events. Um,
okay,
and so I do get the opportunity to, meet a lot of people. But
right,
once again, for and I've even asked, I've got a couple of really good guy friends. In fact, my roommate is a guy who we're strictly platonic, just really good friends.
okay,
Uh, and I've asked him what is wrong with me. You
mm,
know, it's that
right,
I don't think I'm unattractive. You know, I'm
okay,
I'm really outgoing, but all of my
definitely
guy friends,
outgoing.
I'm very out, but all
Okay.
of my guy friends always told me it's the way that I carry myself with
Interesting.
confidence and I'm almost unapproachable. And I'm like, how? But I have
Okay.
such a strong personality that and I guess maybe that comes from working with people my entire career,
Right.
between hairstylist and bartending. I work with people on a daily and I deal with them on a daily. And you have to have some confidence and you have to be able to talk to people and be a chameleon basically.
Right.
And so it's funny because I don't get approached very often.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this: like, do you think that you've noticed a huge decline in you being approached, as the more social media stuff has come into play, or was it more of a gradual thing through time? Like what
No,
what's your perspective on that?
absolutely. Absolutely. I've noticed a huge decline since the whole social media and all these dating apps and everything. Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
I've talked to women that same thing, and everything is so superficial. It's about this text,
Right.
you know, and and if they don't like this part when they first see it, they don't take the moment or the chance to get to see what's really inside and to see if maybe there is, an attraction. Because I know in my life I've met people and I've been like, and once I sit there and talk to them, that person kind of grows on you and you get to know that person and they're
Right.
actually really cool and they become more attractive to you because
Okay.
attraction just isn't on the outside. It comes from within.
Right. So what is your age range for dating?
Um, 35 to my age.
Okay, you're trying to be a cougar now.
Yeah,
35, huh?
yeah, I eat my cat.
Okay. 35. And what's the max age?
um, I would say it's pushing it, but 60. But it has to be the right 60-year-old.
Wait a minute. What is the right 60-year-old?
Well,
Please give me some more information on that.
they can't
Expound
be
on that.
born. They cannot want to get up with the chickens and go to bed with the chickens and sit around and read the newspaper and get up in the morning and eat their Geritol and eat their oatmeal.
So you want a highly because it's I'm gonna say this. I have interviewed other women um around your age that a few and they prefer dating younger men. It sounds like to me you prefer younger men.
I really do.
Okay.
They're more
And
athletic.
okay.
They're more fun. It seems like the older men get, the grumpier they get. They get real, just I don't know, just really maybe set in their ways, or I don't know what it is. But
Okay. Yeah, but I had another lady that I interviewed about 2 weeks ago. She talked about how, and she's like in her early 50s, and she talked about how she don't like dating guys. She prefer guys in their 30s, mid to late 30s, and once they get in there, the guys in their mid 40s to early 50s, they're she actually talked about they're actually upset about the divorce, the relationship, something with they're kind of in this space of not being happy about a lot of different things, and they enjoy. She preferred younger, she said some very similar things that you're
it,
saying. I'm seeing some consistency amongst women at certain ages where they meet certain guys they prefer. Because we never talk about that a whole lot. We never talk about women that reach a certain age they start liking. Particularly if you're energetic, you want somebody that's younger and energetic. And we focus a lot on men, you know, looking at the younger woman, the 25-year-old, the 30-year-old, and he's 50, 60 years old. But we never talk about what women desire as it relates to younger men. That's not necessarily, I guess, is not, I guess it doesn't, it's not talked about as much in
yeah.
media per se, or on TV and etc. So that's quite interesting. So what's the youngest you've ever dated? Uh-oh. Did I ask the wrong question?
What, recently?
Well, okay, I'm going to say recently. What was the youngest you ever dated?
34.
Okay, the youngest you dated is 34. Okay, so that's pretty much you. So
Yeah.
you did say 35 originally. He was 34. So what was how did you enjoy, or what was up with that relationship in itself?
Oh, we had a blast. We had a lot of fun together, but he he is a little too high strung. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a little too high strung and really extremely jealous.
Okay.
And that's something I seem to bring out that little green monster in men. I don't know how, but I seem
Okay.
to bring, and I can't deal with jealousy.
I understand that. I can
You
understand
know,
that. So now I'm going to ask this because being that you're a very sociable person and a very sociable person, like yourself, let's say you're going out and hanging out on a date and you see friends, just
uh,
associates or whatever, and you with a guy and you see so and so that you've seen at the bar or whatever else, and you're like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like a lot of guys can be like, and let's say that happens multiple times, guys can get a little, suspicious of that.
Oh yeah, trust me, I've dealt with this in my life. I have
Okay.
so dealt with that. Yeah, they don't like that. Even
Okay.
if you do them, they're then you get the third degree, you get questioned, and then they're suspicious,
Right.
and then coming up and coming up and coming up, and it's crazy. It's like, what am I supposed to ignore that person and make that person angry? So I let people know right off the bat, or
Right.
guys, if they go out, that I've been around between bartending at football games and bartending at private events, my ex being in the radio, and we were involved in the whole Texas music scene for years. you know all of the things that I've involved myself throughout the years. I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me that I don't even know who they are.
Right. Right.
you know
Right.
so if someone comes up and says, hey, don't freak out and think that that there's something going on there.
It's
Yeah,
just you being social. Just strictly just being social and
right,
and, and cordial with people. I
right,
understand it.
yeah,
So
because that does tend to cause a lot of issues. Yeah, a lot.
okay. Well, for a guy's thinking if they're friendly, maybe obviously this guy probably has flirted with you or made an
Or
attempt to be with you
both
or
of
have
them are-
sex with you. I mean, this is what guys think. That this is
yeah,
what we initially think, and so we're wondering why you're so comfortable with him, and to. So those are some of the things. So, um, do you think at this point that you've been able to maybe adjust that a little bit, or you just feel like I'm just going to just be me and whatever happens,
I
happens.
I have adjusted it a little,
Okay.
but I am who I am. What you see
Right.
is what you get, and I don't think anyone should have to change for a relationship. I really honestly don't. If Because when you meet a person, that you're attracted to that person, and you like those qualities in that person if you continue to see them, obviously. And I think that's
Okay.
what ruins a lot of relationships is people want to take all those things away from you. It's like I was explained one time years ago that you're like this big beautiful blossoming tree, and then once you get in a relationship, you start pulling these limbs off, and before you know it, you're just a tree trunk.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay.
And so you've lost that fire. You've lost that attraction. You don't have
Right.
that there
Right.
because,
Right.
yeah, it's gone. But
Okay.
people want to change people when they get in relationships, and I don't think you should do that.
Okay. I do agree that in a lot of relationships, people do want you to start doing things that they want you to do. And I do think that in any relationship, that should have some level of flexibility. I think that
Absolutely.
everybody presents certain flaws, everybody presents certain things that can be worked on. And
Right.
you do. I think in most relationships, particularly long term, there is some level of sacrifice
Oh,
mutually,
absolutely.
mutual, and I want to put the
Right.
emphasis on mutual. That can occur, but if the foundation of who you are has to be compromised, that's going to be a problem long term. That's going to be a
Absolutely.
problem long term.
You have to give and take in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just part of a relationship. And true, there are things once you get into a relationship that have to be tweaked, or that need to be tweaked because now
Right,
you're in a relationship. And if you want to grow with that person and get to know that person, then you've got to kind of conform to what they like to do and vice versa.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So, but
Definitely.
but to completely beat someone down and take away everything from them,
Right.
that's not cool.
Yeah. And it sounds like for you, it sounds like you would like to operate somewhat loosely in a relationship per se, more of a go with the flow, like not necessarily stringent rules and all this stuff. You want to kind of, just have fun and keep it a certain fun and light, not necessarily so bogged down to certain
Right.
things. You had that in past situations. So
Well, and I feel that in relationships, too much time together, it is not good. You've got to be able to still hang out with your friends and do your own thing, because you get stagnant. You do.
right.
You get stagnant. And if you can't continue to have your friends and the other person wants to take that away from you, then there's no
Are you there?
and you have to have that trust and to be able to let the other person do their thing and be them. I mean, I'm not saying go out to the bars and party till 2, 3, 4 a.m. and come home snockered, but you've got to be able to loosen up that leash a little bit
Right,
and be
right, right,
yourself.
right.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Well, we're at the latter half of the latter part of the interview, and you've been very, very. I like your outtake, your take on things and your experience and where you are. It's very interesting how you've seen how dating has evolved over time, and
Yeah.
how right now you're just looking for a nice guy who likes to smell the roses, have fun, do things, want to be energetic. That seems to be a big thing. Someone been
Yeah.
very energetic. So that means like going out, doing things, hanging out outdoors, like you said, shooting range, all that good stuff. Are you more of an outdoors type person, like camping or
Oh
things of
yeah,
that sort?
I love to go camping and four-wheeling, and you know,
Okay.
I love redoing furniture and going to flea markets and stuff to, find that furniture to
Now,
redo.
speaking of flea markets, isn't there like this huge like flea market in north of Dallas or somewhere? I've heard of some.
Yeah, Traders Village,
That's what it's called.
right in Grand Prairie.
I guess I don't know, but I heard it's like real huge. I
Oh,
never
it is.
been there before.
Yeah, it's really
Huh?
big. It's
Yeah,
really big.
I may have to check that out. But you want someone to go out to things like that with you and hang out, and it's just you and him just conversing and just having a good time.
Yeah.
So, so are you like a social being that well, I guess you're a bartender, but I don't know if you're a social drinker, but I mean,
I
I'm
am
assuming.
a social drinker. I am,
Huh?
and I'm a social drinker. I very seldom even drink at home. My tolerance for drunks is very low. Very low.
Yeah, because you've been around so many.
Ooh,
So I'm trying to figure out, like those are. I can see how like
yeah.
those things that deal with as far as with your life, and you don't want to come home to a drunk, and you got to deal with people
Uh,
1 o'clock in the morning and they can't get enough, or I can imagine how that is. So,
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
lastly, okay, and so right now I know you're entertaining a guy that's a distance away. So what do you want currently now? Like, say for instance, do you have any possibilities of going on any dates in the near future? Are you wanting to meet people or have anything? Or I mean, are you using dating apps or per se? Or
No,
okay,
no.
you want the old fashioned meet you face to face
I
and
because you know why? Because when you meet someone in public, like I was saying, a lot of times when you just look at this, like you do on the apps, this is all you see. You don't feel that spark.
okay,
You could sit next to somebody wherever you go, or just speak to somebody and feel a spark
okay,
that you're not going to get from a dating app, and you would never know because
right,
you
because
don't
it
have that.
don't have the same effect. It doesn't have the same effect,
It doesn't.
and
It does.
so I've always stated, and it's kind of like I feel like the best way to meet someone is to meet them face to face. Unfortunately, I do understand that most the age of just going out to meet women and just basically cold approaching per se, that is like a lost art now. There's very few now I think men more. I'm 45 years old. I think men maybe 35 on up may be willing to do that, but I think the younger generation, they're not really. That's not their primary way of meeting. And even then, now most guys prefer, because all guys that I know, particularly in my line of work, clients and so forth, they have several dating apps that they use. And so the thing about the dating app thing is that people feel like they have control of what type of person they can choose from, as
But you
opposed
don't.
to yeah, you really don't. Yeah,
because
it's superficial.
You can be whoever you want to be
on a dating app.
On that app. You
Yeah,
don't know. You really don't. You don't know. They can put whatever they want on their profile, whatever. You don't know. And 9 times out of 10, those people are pretty damn psycho. They're thrown off.
There is an element. There is an element of that on social on those apps. I will say. So, with that being said, Miss Bethany, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Kind of give us any last words. I would like to probably bring you on. I like to interview and bring people just kind of month or two later. Just hey, what's going on? Any spark that came about? Anything? Any new bow in your life per se? So, any last words?
Well, I am going to Indiana in a few weeks. Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
And so, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, we'll see. So you said you're going in about a month?
About 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going. Yeah.
Okay, so I may want to interview you after that trip to see any excitement, any fireworks came about or something.
Yeah.
So all right. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you all for coming in. This is Coach D. Darrell Spears. Y'all have a great day.